Yes, we're back after Christmas. Right in the coop, Derek and Scotty, who look like they've had a very good Christmas.
Absolutely.
And me, the wee fat turkey. So here we go. Del, did you get your Rangers strip you were asking for?
I thought I was getting an Aberdeen strip.
Is that bright orange one?
Listen, I've got a few Rangers strips. I'll need to bring one in.
And Scotty, I see you got that Lynx Africa set you were after.
Yeah, the shower gel. I've no one to share it with anymore. That's the problem.
Share it with you. Slaney, did he come round though?
No, he didn't, thankfully.
Right, only one place to start. Only thing we're going to talk about. Old Firm game at the weekend. How much are you looking forward to it?
Oh, listen, I absolutely love them. Maybe not of late because Celtic have been so dominant. I can't recall the last time Rangers got one over in their biggest rivals. So it's about time we did. Speaking from the Rangers camp, obviously. Yeah. So you know, Steven Gerrard, the job that he's done has been absolutely brilliant. But the icing on the cake for me, and certainly for the Rangers fans, is to beat Celtic. You know, and if they're going to show their credentials as real title contenders, they've got to beat Celtic. So why not? Why not on the 29th? You know, they've been good at home. We've spoken about their home form. It's been excellent. You know, the big games in Europe, with that crowd behind you. I don't know, what's the situation with the fans? They're taking an allocation, Celtic at 750. So you think the atmosphere, you know, I wish there was a bit more.
Disappointed.
I'm disappointed. Of course,
we'll come to that in a minute. We'll come to that.
But you know something, with the fans behind them, hopefully one or two injuries clear up and they can get a real strong side out. Why not?
So with the form and the fans, is this the most confident you've been going into one of these games in a while?
I'm always kind of confident,
right.
and I've, you know, it's not really kind of worked out at times. I think about the last one. You know, I thought Rangers would have a real go at Celtic because I think if you press Celtic high up the park, at times it can be a wee bit vulnerable. Rangers tactics, they sat off. You'll not be allowed to do that at Ibrox.
No.
They've got to go.
He tried to go there with the mentality of it was a European game, you know, because they were doing so well in Europe at that point. But he really let Celtic off the hook because Celtic at that point were there for the taking, and he really failed on that day. Will he do the same again? I very much doubt it. Like
no,
you said,
at
Ibrox, you've got to be on the front foot, get the fans behind you. Yeah. And this is a real interesting one for me. This is probably the one for me that I've probably have found the most difficult in recent times in terms to pick who's going to win this one. Celtic's away form's been dreadful this year compared to the last 2 years if you look upon comparisons. So from that, and it's just about the personnel as well. Celtic got so many options. Who do they go for and where, you know, so I find it really difficult to actually pick a winner for this.
But Celtic do always seem to turn up in these games.
Yeah, they do.
Do you expect that again?
Absolutely. You know, they're big game players, all these, especially being the last game before the break. No one wants to lose this game. This is a huge game for different reasons. For Celtic to go and stamp their authority and saying it's our title, it's our league, and for Rangers to make a statement and say we're in this year, you know, and we've got a lingering sort of 2 to 3 week period. After that, psychologically, whoever wins this game, I think it's going to be massive in the run-in.
Is that because you've not got the next game to put it right? Is that winter break such a big thing?
Of course.
You've got the cup as well. So,
but do you know something? That's the worry for me, from a Rangers perspective, is that Celtic, you've just said it, they turn up when it comes to the crunch. You know, they seem to put in a performance. So Rangers have got to be at their best and, you know, and don't sit off. Go and pressure them. Go at them right from the off. Don't allow them to build from the back. It's like being... You can respect a team too much. I think that's happened in the past with Rangers. I don't think that's what's going to happen on the 29th. I think it's going to be a real ding-dong. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. And I honestly, I'm not just saying this, I think I just get a wee feeling in my bones it might be Steven Gerrard's time that he's just going to edge out our Rangers, our Celtic. Sorry.
Does it come into this will be Gerrard's first Old Firm at Ibrox. Rodgers has won his fair share of Old Firm game. Does that come into it as well, the managing side?
He's unbeaten, isn't he? Yeah, I mean, he's only come up against Gerrard once. So it's a different era in terms of the Rangers era. The way they're performing, it's a little bit different. You know, the one thing I've been saying since Rangers come back in the league is get your home form right. You know, these Old Firm games are big, but they're not the most important things to Rangers as a football club. They need to win.
It's a statement.
Well, it is.
I know.
They are, but they're not, because they need to go and beat the rest. To have any chance of actually having a title challenge, they need to go and worry about doing their business week in, week out. I know, but you
mean the way Rangers are now?
Yeah, you can't affect what Celtic are doing week in. You can only affect what you are. So week in, week out. That's why the away form has to, be better. But obviously, thankfully for them, that Celtic's away form's been not great either. So it's kept them right in it. But obviously, leading into this now, because it's the game that's apparent, that it's a game where you stamp your authority, we go and win this one, and we show them they're in for a title challenge.
This is what we're after on a wee bit, Harry. I'm not going to have to pull you two apart.
So, I love them, it's that mindset. And I've said it before, even though you've got games, you always think, when's the Celtic game? When's the Celtic game? And it was always at this time.
I don't know if Rangers have been doing that recent times.
That was always. I looked at the fixture list. But at this time of year, for me, it was always New Year's Day. But say a little bit earlier. But no, it's going by cracker.
How important will a guy like Alan McGregor be in this fixture? Because he's been there, he's played in the big ones. Maybe a few players that haven't played at Ibrox and Old Firm game. How important is he going to be? Not just in the game, but in the build-up to the game.
Listen, he's been brilliant, hasn't he, since he's come back to the club. Tell you what, he's an angry man as well.
That's what I'm saying. He'll get them up for it, won't he?
Have you not noticed? At times, he's giving it to the players, but he's just trying to drive them on, and if he's not happy with things, he's really vocal. So, as an experienced guy, experienced player, but still at the top of his game, not just with Rangers, with Scotland as well. So he's going to be huge for Rangers, and he's that type of guy that he might not have anything to do for 60, 70 minutes, but when it comes to producing a big moment, a big save, he stands up to the mark.
Just on Rangers' tactics, Scotty, because obviously against Hibs they kind of sat off and let Hibs have the ball and then took them on the counter-attack. Can you see that again at Ibrox, or do they need to go be the team in charge?
They won't do that at home. They can't. The fans won't allow it. They're going to have to be on the front foot. And I think the best way to play against Celtic is to press them high. And I think we've seen that. In terms of making Celtic kick long, anyone who's had any success, they've pressed them high, made sure they can't get their flow, try and play out from the back. And I think that's what Rangers are going to have to do. They're going to have to unsettle Celtic, try and make them go long early and get on the front foot.
You spoke about it earlier, Derek, with the fans. Being an away player at Ibrox, how good was it to have the full back?
Amazing.
Stands with the
Amazing.
Fans? And how much will it affect this?
Well, I think it will. Psychologically, it will feel like a stadium where everyone's against you now. Whereas when you had that whole end, for Celtic, it felt like it felt like a different atmosphere. A little bit different at Celtic Park because Rangers fans get that section, but they don't get a whole side. And I think that maybe that's where Rangers have looked at it and the psychology of it. But I think it's poor. I think it's been there for since day dot, tradition. Having as many fans as what has been allocated for Celtic and Rangers fans. I think it was Rangers who put this out first, and Celtic reciprocated in terms of, well, if you're going to do that to us in this fixture, well, we're going to do it to you first. It's a tit for tat thing. It's pathetic, and hopefully they can come to some sort of sense and get this knocked on the head as soon as possible.
It is a bit of that tit for tat, but I think more so you look at Rangers, I think they're just trying to look after the season ticket holders, but it's a day for the fans, it's about the atmosphere, and yet when Celtic had that full stand, the atmosphere, it's electric. So, but
do you see this as a massive advantage for Rangers?
Aye. Obviously. And you've got to use everything.
If I was Steven Gerrard, I would probably do the same, or I would want the same. I've seen managers do certain things before. Like Martin O'Neill went to Sunderland, for instance, and all the away fans used to be behind the goal. He stuck them up in the gods. It's things like that, because from a psychological point of view.
Clever.
So in terms of Celtic not having as many fans, it will feel a bit odd for the Celtic players, no doubt.
Is there still an element of the Rodgers v Gerrard, or do you think that's gone now?
I think there'll be something there. There's something went on behind the scenes, obviously, what happened at Liverpool. But, I just think it's a great opportunity for Gerrard to get one over on Rodgers, because he has been so dominant in this fixture. So it's about him getting his tactics absolutely spot on. They'll be fired up, of course they will. So, listen, let's not talk. We just hope between the two sets of players they go at it, and the best team comes out on top. But I think it's going to be a real ding-dong. I think it's going to be a bit of a throwback to years gone past. But it's one that Rangers, for me, if they're going to be serious title contenders, they've got to win it. So I honestly, and that's where I think it's not a bad thing to heap a little bit of pressure on Rangers. I think it's a must-win game. Yeah.
Final thing on Celtic, will they keep their style of play that they always are?
Absolutely.
Changing?
Yeah, they'll never change the style of play. Brendan refuses to do so, and why should they? They've been ever so successful doing what they've been doing. The biggest dilemma for Brendan Rodgers, and he's got more problems probably what Steven Gerrard has at this moment in time in terms of team selection. I think that's huge. He gets it right. There'll be big question marks on that centre of the park, the midfield three.
There's so many, isn't there?
Yeah, so many. Does he go for the first game in a long time without his captain in there? Huge leader.
I don't see
and playing McGregor in there and Christian Rogic, or does Scott fit in there? It's a big call for him. What he does in there, because those three without Scott have been phenomenal. Obviously been broken up with injury and whatnot. But does he go back to the tried and tested, or does he stick with his natural leader? Because I think that's something maybe Celtic possibly lack in terms of that experience and that leadership. And when things go wrong and you're under a lot of pressure, hopefully, I say hopefully, sorry, John, you can take the sting out of the game for them.
I think they need Scott Brown at Ibrox because to protect that back four. Because I don't think they're the best. Take Tierney out of that back four. I know Ralston's come in and done really well, but I think they're vulnerable. And that style of play, I think it could be their downfall. If they try and play for them in the back and Rangers get at them and press them high up the park, I think there might be a few chances there for them.
Is this one that's hard to call until you actually see the teams?
Aye.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. There'd be mind games going into this at the moment because that's what happens before all firm games. This one might not be fit, that one might play, might not play. So until you get the teams, I think there's no question the biggest pivotal person in the Rangers team's Morelos. Morelos. If he plays to a standard that he's been showing this season, yet to score against Celtic, it's been well documented. He's not scored against the biggest rivals yet. So could this be the one where he turns a corner with that?
You think it will be the one, Dale, because he's in good form?
I hope so. He's been different class. I know at times he's let himself down.
Is that his haircut, you mean?
Aye, that is right. I wish I had hair like that. But if he can curtail that, but then you're trying to get that he's all about aggression. But he's got loads of qualities, and you can see why Steven Gerrard, wants to kind of, no wrap him in cotton wool, but protect him a little bit, because without Rangers, Rangers are the same team, in my opinion. Nope. No.
Just on to yourselves, how much did you look forward to his game, and how good is the week leading up to the game?
The week leading up to it's not great. You just want the game to come.
Is there nerves the whole week?
Yeah, definitely. I had nerves all the time. You could never sort of leave your vicinity. You would go to training, come straight home. I remember once I went into Glasgow for something, and literally, even with tinted windows, people would still see you and just absolutely hurl abuse or spit at your window or whatever else they wanted to do.
Sorry about that.
That was me.
You the same, Derek?
I loved it. I just loved everything about it. We went to a hotel a couple of days before the game as well.
Fire alarm ever go off? That happened to us a couple of times.
It's to get away. It's to get away from your pals, your friends. And you just know how much it means to the punters, the fans, and I just loved when you win the game. It was putting a smile on their face. So although for yourself, and you can be quite selfish at times as a player, but I just love seeing the punters getting away, knowing that they could enjoy their night.
That's why it makes it even bigger, because there's no other games for a period. So you go into this game and you don't win this game, you've got to deal with that for the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's the worst thing possible. You just want the next game to come along. If you've lost one of these games, you just want the next one to come as quickly as you can.
I had a big pal that locked himself in his room. He's a married man as well, for a couple of days if Rangers get beat against Celtic.
What, a fan? Or a player?
Oh, he's a fan.
Right.
Yeah, a big Rangers fan for Hamilton. His nickname's Beano. He shut the door for a couple of days. He didn't want to see anybody. So you get the sense that what it means. to everybody, because it's their life. So you understand that, and that's the responsibility you have as a player when you step onto that park.
Okay, finally, favourite moment for an Old Firm game?
Winning.
Budget personally, what's your favourite one?
I think it's quite fitting at the games at Ibrox, isn't it? Obviously, I managed to score a winner there. It was a 1-0 game. It was a great goal. It was against McGregor, which you always felt if you beat McGregor as well, it was always going to have to be a good goal to beat him. And certainly that day in front of Celtic fans, it was as well. Probably, best memory for me.
What about yourself, Dale?
Just any time we beat them.
Was there a few times?
It was quite a few times in my day and age. The first was the one that I always, and I speak about, was the League Cup. Was here. We're at Hampden at the moment. Was Davy Cooper scoring with 5 minutes to go against Celtic, and it was a great game that day. It was end to end, nothing between the sides.
Okay, on to the Coombe. We're going to do a correct score and an any-time scorer. Now, bear in mind, I think the last time Rangers beat Celtic was 2.5 years ago. Brendan Rodgers, 12 games in charge, only drawn 2, 1-10.
It's incredible.
So, Dale, what do you fancy?
Do you know, they've got to break the duck sometime. We're speaking about Morelos as well. You know, no scored against Celtic. I'm going to go Rangers 2-1. It's going to be close. It's going to be a real ding-dong, but I just think it's Rangers' time. You know, Brendan Rodgers' record is phenomenal. So it is. In the last time that Rangers won, I think it was at Hampden away back a couple of years ago. So I think it's Rangers' time. And the reason I'm saying that is because Celtic have not been as consistent. You know, they've been brilliant the last couple of years. We all know that. But that little bit of inconsistency that they've had, maybe missing one or two key players, you know. So I just think Rangers just edge it 2-1.
And we Alfredo?
Oh, okay.
Anytime?
Yes.
Goal scorer, yeah.
Anytime we do.
And Scott, what are you thinking?
I'm worried. I'm genuinely worried for Celtic. This is the biggest test, for Brendan Rodgers and his Celtic team against the Rangers side since he's been here. Ibrox formidable this year for them. Celtic's flow has been kind of stopped in terms of because of the injuries that have happened to the likes of the Edwards and Christie's. You know, the form they were showing, they were absolutely flying. I think it will be a draw. Okay. I was almost going to go for a 0-0.
No, I don't know, because they need
no, exactly. We need scorers. I'm going to say 1-1, and I'm going to back my old Aussie mate to get on the score sheet.
Big time.
Yeah, big time. And for Rangers, it's a difficult one. Candeas.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, coming in off that wing. What about any red cards?
Don't go there with Morelos. Just stay in the park. Get a goal, young man, but he's going to be a big player for Celtic. That's where Rangers will need to take care of him in the big games.
He turns up for these games.
Oh, he does. He's been phenomenal, just playing that little hole, you know.
Pockets.
So he's a clever player, and he always produces. So Rangers have got to be on their toes against him.
Right, we're off to kiss and make up. Thanks very much for coming, lads.
Cheers.
Cheers.